Apex Wiring Solutions have developed a system manufactured in the UK using British standard cables and components to fulfill the requirements of installations in a wide range of building fabrics, including hospitals, schools, hotels, residential, retail, high bay, and prefabricated buildings. We are not trying to achieve something that's difficult. All the systems that AWS are able to provide are from an off-the-shelf portfolio of existing technologies and products that have been applied in a way that's both innovative and cost-effective, but, best of all, easy to install. It is good practice to manage a modular wiring install by program stage within individual zones. This ensures that all first fix materials are received on site together. Then second and third fix items should be delivered later, in line with the program. Apex Wiring Solutions have standard lead times for standard products which are available on request. As some items are made to order, allowing for these lead times when requesting or ordering material will ensure the materials for the site are delivered on time. All equipment should be inspected for any damage caused during shipping on arrival to site. It should also be checked against any installation schematics, which will define how the system plugs together. Good housekeeping is essential. Deliveries per zone should be segregated and delivered to the required location on site to stop materials from being mixed up. A comprehensive range of pre-wired three-phase distribution boards, or DBs, are available. Each DB arrives on site with a set of female connectors wired into a header trunking mounted to the top of the DB, giving the pluggable outgoing circuits. Individual connectors are labeled and mechanically coded to prevent mismating of circuits. DBs are supplied pre-mounted onto a unistrut frame as standard. This allows for simple installation in enclosed environments. Do's. Check the area is in a condition that is suitable for DB installation, tidy with no tripping hazards, and the DB's final position already agreed or marked out. Check you have enough equipment, fixings, and time to complete the task. The DBs are heavy. Ensure there are enough men and adequate space to allow installation without damage or injury. Lift correctly. This should all be completed in conjunction with the specific risk assessment and method statements. Don'ts. Unpack using any blades, as this could damage the paintwork. Leave the DB without it being correctly fixed to the building fabric. Open the DB. Multi-circuit armoured cables, designated home run cables, run from the electrical distribution board to the main distribution box, or MDB. With up to 9 outgoing ports, the MDB can be configured to suit any mix of lighting and power circuit requirements. Starting in the corridor with the MDB adjacent to the selected containment, decant enough of the home run from the male connector end to feed back through to the DB cupboard. As the DB is the fixed point in the installation, it is essential that this process is well coordinated. Do's. Take some time to plan the order in which home runs are fed into the DB. Avoid as much as possible crossovers left to right and front to back. Check with the labelled MDB reference numbers and the DB chart or electrical drawing to ensure the correct home run is being used. Dress the connector end from the top of the DB up the wall using a section of containment and metal tie wraps. Consider the bending radius when installing. Don'ts. Pull the home run using the connector or MDB. Where MDBs are supplied with free-end home run cables, individual circuits are identified by means of core identification, whereby each set of live, earth and neutral insulated conductors are marked on the insulation accordingly, 1 to 6 for a 6-port MDB and 1 to 9 for a 9-port. Do's. Remove the excess armour using a roto cutter in small sections, removing carefully so not to damage the conductors until the correct strip back is achieved. Take your time. Replacing an MDB is time-consuming if too much armouring is removed or the conductors are damaged. Don'ts. Remove any labelling on the conductors while trimming back the home run. Unroll the home run away from the DB using cable jacks, and if site space and working conditions allow, completely decant onto the floor. Then lift into the containment supplied, ensuring the MDB and home run is supported to reduce any strain. The home run should be cable tied every 2 meters to ensure there is no disruption by other services after installation. If the home run is to be clipped to the soffit or floor slab, there are a number of industry standard fixings such as hangers, cleats that can be used. Do's. Plan the containment with the modular installation in mind, both on size and type. Open-sided cable containment works best. Check the fixings used are suitable for the method of installation. If the home run is suspended, then stainless steel or metal cable ties must be used. Requirements for fire regulations may also dictate the need for metal cable ties. Make the installation as neat as possible. Keep away from other services. Don'ts. Leave large sections hanging unsupported, as this will give undue stress on the armouring and cause it to pop. The suggested method of installation of the head section of the MDB is to fix the head under the basket containment. This allows for an easier access and tidier installation of the lead assemblies away from the MDB. First, secure the MDB head with plastic cable ties to achieve a safe and sound fix, then repeat with metal cable ties to cover a number of potential safety concerns. Where specification dictates, other containment fittings can be utilized in conjunction with the 4 MDB fixing holes. Do's. Mount with the labeling showing. Use drum jacks if available. Don'ts. Pull the MDB by holding only the head. Leave the MDB head hanging unsupported. Twist the MDB head round more than 180 degrees. Correct identification of the product is essential and can be derived from the electrical drawing by cross-referencing with the schematic. The item part number is shown on the schematic, and this allows the correct assembly to be easily selected. The product labeling details length, conductor size and number of conductors, as well as a part number for reordering and as a cross-reference back to the schematic. A few rules of thumb are built into the modular system. 1. The connector color denotes the cable gender. For example, the black connector is the plug or male connector, the connector closest in the circuit to the DB, and the white connector is the socket or female connector. 2. The connector lock nut denotes the number of pluggable ways. For example, a white lock nut designates the assembly is for use in a 3-core system, while a black lock nut signals a 4-core system. 3. Therefore, the system is designed for a black connector to plug into a white connector, and only connectors with the same color lock nut connect together. 4. The cable sheath color quickly identifies the conductor size. For example, a white outer sheath denotes 1.5 square millimeters, a black outer sheath is 2.5 square millimeters, and a grey outer sheath is used for 4 square millimeters assemblies. Do's. Always use the schematic. The length is shown on the label. Don'ts. Guess the product. It's always more difficult to replace a lead than double-check first. If there is any doubt, simply refer to the product label and the schematic for fit, form, and function. Each building program is unique, but in most cases, after the corridors or streets are completed, the first side of the boarded wall is constructed. This is the ideal time to install wall drops. The construction drawings must show correct information relative to the different mounting heights, and these must be considered when allowing the length of all wall drops. At high level, feed the cable assembly through a drilled hole. By keeping this hole as small as possible, 25 to 30 millimeters, ensures that fire stopping isn't an issue when performed. If the number of cables or site conditions require clipping, then clip sparingly along the length of the drop within the wall. At the socket or accessory position, feed enough cable to connect the pluggable assembly. Installing the accessory and backbox is a simple process. Firstly, connect all the cables required for the application. Then present the backbox through the hole in the plasterboard and deploy the side wings to hold the unit in place. To ensure that the cables are suspended within the safety zone, pull the slack cable through the wall at the top and clip on the outside of the board. Do's. Use the schematic to understand what cables are required and why. Ensure the wall drop stays within the safety zone as outlined in the latest IEE standards BS 7671. Allow enough cable at the bottom of the assembly so that it can be retrieved when the second sideboard is fitted and notched. Don'ts. Overclip an LSOH or unprotected wall drop. It should be allowed to move to the side if someone tries to puncture it through the wall. Never bend any assembly within 150 millimeters of the connector. Never exceed the bending radius of any cable. The lead assemblies that are plugged into the MDB and run between all other modular equipment are called extenders. These assemblies are sent to site on purpose-built trolleys, which aid their movement around site in a safe manner, keeping the workplace tidy and offering a form of protection for the product. Product identification is as previously described, and referring to the product labeling and schematic will ensure the correct product for the task is selected. These extenders can be routed around the building in a number of different ways. For example, in basket containment, clipped to the wall, clipped to the soffit, or cable tied to the catenary wires for the ceiling grid. If clipped on a wall, it is recommended to use P-clips situated 150 millimeters from every connector and every 300 to 400 millimeters along the lead length. Secondary leads, up to 4 cables of the same type, can be tie-wrapped to a lead fixed in this manner. If clipped to the soffit, then use P-clips 150 millimeters from every connector and every 300 millimeters along the length. Secondary leads should not be tie-wrapped to these cables. Any excess cable should be looped into a single helix, ensuring compliance with bending radiuses. Removal for the connector allows for virtually any secondary device to be hardwired into the system, including fans, PIRs, luminaries, etc. This can be performed either on-site or off-site, making a fully pluggable wiring installation possible. Do's. Keep power, lighting and data quite separate. Don'ts. If the wiring system is armored, no other services can be clipped to the COPEX. The Apex range of cable assemblies includes an armored range, which would be a direct replacement for rigid metal conduit and pulling of cables in areas where a high level of mechanical protection is required in the building specification. With a special gland coupler, connections can be made simply and quickly, giving a truly fully armored, mechanically protected system. Switch blocks are pre-wired compact boxes configured to suit all types of hard switching, available in both armored and unarmored versions, and allowing switching to be achieved without complicated on-site wiring. All switch units are mechanically and color-coded to aid component identification and to prevent miswiring on-site. Each switch unit is supplied with a label detailing each input and output on the device, aiding installation. Lighting switch boxes can be designed for specific applications upon request, including a lighting distribution box available in 4, 8 and 12-way versions for elegant circuit delivery within a room, with a solution that is simply plug and play. T's are a form of power distribution, allowing a circuit to branch in 2 directions. Spurs are usually a pluggable fused connection unit that allows for local isolation of the circuit for maintenance or repair. For example, power for a CCTV camera or door lock. Do's. Use the schematic to familiarize yourself with how the individual components connect to create a switching solution without any on-site wiring. Follow the label as a guide for each port on the unit. Plan each point to save crossovers of different cable assemblies. Don'ts. Carry any assembly by the cables or connectors. Leave the device hanging loose on one lead assembly, as this can damage the lead. Dado-mounted wiring accessories are available, specifically designed for this application, and come supplied with extra long flying leads to allow for the input and output connections to be moved from left to right, so that the circuit connection can be made from either side of the dado-mounted wiring accessory. A wide range of pluggable wiring accessories are available in applications up to 6-pole. Almost any accessory for any application by any manufacturer can be made pluggable at the Apex factory. These are available in almost any backbox configuration and can include intumescent pads and acoustic insulation as options. The use of modular wiring and prefabricated cable assemblies does not negate the need for comprehensive testing as required by BS 7671. In some respects, the test process should be faster because all the separate assemblies will be individually tested, and this should minimize on-site errors.